Alrighty, friends, we are live here. I'm going to be doing a simultaneous YouTube, Rumble, Facebook, all the things, Twitter space combined with a live interaction with all my followers on Twitter spaces and YouTube. So we're going to wait for everybody to get in and to uh, stream this talk about this Charlie Kirk assassination and to get some differing opinions. I will share what I feel about all that has taken place over the last 2 days. So yeah, we will wait for everyone to come in. Hi Lala, how's it going? We're gonna get started in just a minute. If you could share the space, please, and send it to whoever you think would be interested. We're gonna be talking about the Charlie Kirk assassination and whether it was a psychological operation that happened in real time or whether it was real and Charlie is actually dead or if he's alive. We're going to get a ton of differing opinions tonight as Twitter itself has been all over the place in regards to actually what narrative is true and what is fake. My perspective is that it's most likely a massive psychological operation as a part of the divide and conquer narratives that have taken place over the last year, or excuse me, last 4.5 years, that we've all been having this actual noticing. But yes, please continue to share this, and we will get some people up that want to speak. If you want to speak, please raise your hand, and I'll get you up as a speaker. And I'm also simultaneously streaming this on my YouTube and my Rumble channel, just to let you all know. And if we could please keep this as like a PG-13 where we keep minimal cursing out there. I don't want to, get as many, I don't, I'm going to do my best to not drop any F bombs. And I hope that everyone in here can as well. But essentially, I will start off by just opening up with my perspective on, um, I guess, really what has happened. And so, initially, when the Charlie Kirk shooting occurred, I actually believed what was playing out in real time. I called a friend of mine and I watched the initial video um, where it felt like it was actually a real assassination. I felt that he actually was shot by somebody and it felt legitimate, watching the enormous amounts of, so-called blood that came out of him. It felt like it was real. I was like, there's no way that they can fake that. There's no way. There's no way. And so here's a headline just talking about the Charlie Kirk assassination from Fox News's point of view, declaring him actually dead. I believe this guy, his name is Will something, and he used to work for ESPN. So I'm going to play this real quick. His name's Will Kane. So, and we do know that ESPN and the sports industries and Fox News, they ultimately do allow their commentators to jump back and forth and provide influence in the sports as well as the media, which has big links to the CIA. So everyone, please continue to retweet and share this space with those you think that would be interested in having this conversation. I'd love to get more folks in here, but without further ado, I'll play the Will Kane discussion on what happened with Charlie Kirk.
It is my great dishonor to be the person that says this and breaks this to you on television, but President Donald Trump is announcing on Truth Social, the great and even legendary Charlie Kirk is dead. No one understood or had the heart of the youth in the United States of America better than Charlie. He was loved and admired by all, especially me, and now he is no longer with us. Melania and my sympathies go out to his beautiful wife, Erica, and his family. Charlie, we love you. Charlie Kirk, according to the President of the United States, is dead. I don't really know where you go from here. I don't know where we go from here in a news program, and I don't know where we go from here in America.
So obviously, just a slight report on what was going down, and then ultimately we are dealing with a lot more than just an assassination here. I think this, from my perspective, based off of my experience in the alternative media world, it feels like it was a coordinated assassination to one of the highest levels. And this is something that we are going to get into. If anyone wants to become a speaker, please feel free to step up and share your perspective. So today we are going to continue going through this. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen on this channel. Here we go. So for those that have seen the actual video, there's been a lot of back and forth on things like a black dot on Charlie's shirt that has happened over the last few days. And so from my perspective, it feels as if this shirt issue is one of the bigger parts of this false flag. So for those that haven't seen it, I will share the video in the comments. I'm navigating the spaces right now, but ultimately we are dealing with a black dot that starts over the F of his freedom shirt when he is supposedly shot. And then, so in real time, the F itself actually disappears on the freedom part of his shirt. And so it goes F, and then it goes freedom, and then it becomes readum. And as we move through the video, the F itself actually comes in and out of being visualized, which to me shows that this is it feels as if this is some form of AI, some form of AI that has to be involved. It feels as if, who is to say that it's not AI at this point in time? I mean, we are dealing with powers that we do not have any, I think, actual idea about how much technology these people have that is capable to manipulate the masses and ultimately cause psychological operations that we as truthers need to really be awake to. This is a huge thing that is taking place in the world, and we need to be conscious to it. So then there's the hair issue that we see with Charlie, where as the black dot is moving across his shirt, we also are seeing it going up towards his neck where he was hit, right? But the actual hair on Charlie is coming in and out, up and down. It's going up and down, up and down, up and down, as if, there was like it feels like some form of AI that was being used to augment him in the actual frame of where he was sitting. And so, I would love to hear some testimonies from people that were actually there. But based off of this video that has been circulating, it feels obvious this is an anomaly that really needs to be explained. There is a black dot on his neck, which is where the blood ultimately comes out of. And so at the end of this video, it says, "Take the emotion out. Is this real?" To me, it feels as if this is a entirely possible to be a psyop, and it's hard to really believe anything nowadays. At this point, it's something that we all need to be questioning. From my perspective, after working for James O'Keefe and the alternative media and Project Veritas and O'Keefe Media Group, it's hard to really trust anything that these people say. And one thing I'll share right now is that I had a phone call with a former colleague on the release of my documentary, Project Whistleblower, and it was I was informed that Charlie Kirk actually went to Bohemian Grove in the summer of 2023 with James. He had elicited James, and he ultimately, my colleague ultimately had said that James and Charlie and Tucker Carlson all were at Bohemian Grove in the summer of 2023. So this is another thing that just is very eye-opening, my friends, where if you're going to Bohemian Grove in secret and you are a truth teller and a truth seeker, that on the surface at least, like James and Charlie and all these other folks in the right-wing media call themselves, and you go to Bohemian Grove in secret, how are we supposed to trust anything that you have to say? So that's certainly my perspective on this. And I will continue to go into the notes that I have for what was going down on this episode of the movie that is our lives. And so ultimately, Chris Giraldo is somebody that I was following on Instagram who was posting about this psyop here, and he was ultimately shining a light on what was going on in real time with everything, where he's saying that I don't want to be tinfoil hattie, but rings don't magically swap fingers like that on a closed fist. And that's my only opinion on this. I'm done now. And it feels as if that this is, to me, that this is a massive part of the psyop, where, his ring finger has a ring on it, and then he puts his finger down, and then it magically goes to his pinky finger. Not putting my tinfoil hat on here. This is something that is out there. You can go check it out. I don't ultimately think that this is something that is being used on Adobe Acrobat to edit it. It feels as if this is real-time psychological operation, where they were using some form of AI. And if it's not AI, then the explanation would be that this was like pre-recorded potentially, and that it's like some form of a hologram, which still would involve AI. So ultimately, my friends, we are dealing with something absolutely rather difficult to comprehend and understand. So here is a video of that. Then this was made by AI. It's a Lamborghini going into a puddle, and it looks real up until the point where, if you watch this lady's face, her eyes get a little too big as she starts reacting. Right. So this is what AI can do. It can make anything look real. So question everything is all I have to say. like straight up, this is all we have to be doing is questioning everything that is presented to us. Here is another thing that's AI. We have a dog, and it's using its little hose, and it's going into a house, and it's spraying a couch, and it's spraying everything. It looks so real. It looks like a real dog. It looks like a real table, a real couch. Looks like a real welcome mat to me. So you never know these days because of AI. I'm done paying attention to the media. You could say that again. Ultimately, this is a reflection of the divide and conquer that we have seen throughout this psychological operation, my friends, where we have people out there who are willing to celebrate the death of somebody because they don't share their perspective. Right. So we have people calling Charlie Kirk a Nazi. People calling him a Nazi out there, which I'm not saying I believe anything that Charlie Kirk talks about. I don't actually think that Charlie himself is a good guy, but I'm also open to all perspectives and hearing what everyone has to say, and to have people on the left saying that Charlie Kirk is a Nazi, it to me it shows where our world is nowadays. Where the people on the left are so brainwashed that they think that he's a Nazi, and that he I don't know. There was some video that I had on here where they were saying he's a Nazi, but like, just look at the people on the left. They're all afraid. They're all wearing their face masks and everything else. Um, so there you have it. Right? There's this person's name is Stinky. I'm a Myrtle. A they them. So they look like a confused man or woman. I don't know. At this point, they have a mustache, and they got more hair on their lip than I do right now. So this person clearly identifies and embodies the liberal nowadays that is so delusional and so um, radical that it's like, if you are faith-based and you believe in God, it's like, wow, this person is just so delusional, so I must go to the right side. Right. So then we have the MAGA crowd that is out there explaining. We got the Alex Jones out there. We got the people with the Make America Great Again hats, and mourning this loss, and are saying that, oh my gosh, like, we got a massive rally for Charlie Kirk. This just goes to show that this is a grand operation of people gathering and mourning the so-called loss of Charlie Kirk. And I'm not saying he's not dead, but I'm also not saying he's not dead, my friends. So here we go. So ultimately, we have Charlie and all of these people who are mourning his loss. But then we look on the left side of the screen here, and we have Charlie Kirk and Candace Owens doing the hand signal, the Illuminati, what is perceived as the Illuminati hand signal that is signaling to their masters that, hey, we are following orders, we are doing what is told by our masters now, right? Like, make America great again, put your hands together. And who's done that in the past? Who has done that in the past? Donald Trump. We got who's that? Kennedy Jr. Here we go. We got James O'Keefe again with the hand signal. We got the brick wall. So ultimately, we have a lot going on here. Then we got another picture with the hand gestures, and then we have Charlie Kirk saying, "Did I get shot by an AR-15? Feels like it." This was in six. This was 6/22/2014. It feels as if that this is part of the predictive programming that we see nowadays in regards to um, psychological operations. Like, they have to tell us. It's called their karmic retribution or something, where they just put everything out there and then they predictively program it. And if they get us and don't get us on, or that if they're not telling us what they're doing, then how are we supposed to you know say that they didn't that they didn't share with us the truth, because it's right there in plain sight. He's saying, "Did I just get shot by an AR-15? Feels like it." Yeah, right. It's like laughing in our face. Um, so I have a tough time with all of that, in the sense, and here's the ring finger again. I have a tough time witnessing things like this. Um, so some things that I wanted to share were from Escanor's account, and then a few other accounts. So we see things all connected to the number 33,000 Clinton emails, 33,000 Epstein documents, 33 hours. We've made historic progress for Charlie Kirk. Notice a pattern here? Think it's a coincidence? Turning Point USA just released this beautiful 3-minute and 22-second long video honoring Charlie Kirk, a life of faith, a legacy that endures, remembering Charlie Kirk, 322 Skull and Bones, the Brotherhood of Death. I'm going to play this video. All right. So I'm just going to keep playing. This feels so scripted. Here we have Escanor tweeting one ritual always bleeds into the next. September 11th is exactly 33 days before Charlie Kirk's birthday. C equals 3, K equals 11, CK equals 33. His show launched July 7th, 2019, 322 weeks and 3 days later, or 6 years, 66 days. He's dead on September 10th, 2025. That's 322 and 666 in one breath. Skull and Bones was born at Yale on October 9th, 10/9. Mirror is 9/10. Kirk's death date. His tribute video exactly 3 minutes 22 seconds. Dead at 31. Exactly 27 weeks and 4 days later. 27 plus 4 equals 31. Lands on 322. The birthday of Skull and Bones. I don't know, man. This isn't coincidence. It's ritual stacked on ritual. Or maybe I'm crazy. Who knows? I honestly don't think he's crazy, but that's just my perspective. If someone thinks, oh, Bobby wants to speak, let me get him up. Um, Let me get in here. Hold on, Liv. I don't know if I'm supposed to say that. Here we go. What's up, Bob? You hear me? What up, dude? I do hear you. How you doing, my friend? First off, I want to congratulate you. Do you hear me? Do you hear me? Lithium? Bobby? You don't hear me? Do you hear me? You hear me, bud? You hear me? Do you hear me? Do you hear me? Hello? Yeah, I hear you. Yeah, I hear you. Pierce, do you hear me? Pierce, do you hear me? Yeah, I hear you, Lithium. Pierce is giving me thumbs up, saying that he hears me. Um, Pierce, can I invite you to see if I can interact with you? Do you hear me, Pierce? Do you, do you hear me now? All right, let me try. Bobby, you hear me? Yeah, what's up, bud? All good, dude. It must have been something on my end or just Twitter in general. I'm trying to get at that this feels like a massive psychological operation that is dividing a lot of people. And well, psyops themselves are big operations that um, don't necessarily. It feels as if that this was a operation where, I mean, the ring itself is one anomaly, and then we have the black dot on his shirt that is moving around, and then it moves up. Yeah, microphones and lapels don't do that. Right. So speaking, of, it doesn't exactly look like a lapel mic to me. Honestly, it looks like either it's AI or it could be part of a blood bag. I was what I That's entirely possible. I'm not making it. The people that were behind him weren't necessarily AI, but there's a lot um there's a lot that goes into these types of operations. I'm not suggesting that as my claim. I'm suggesting it that this entire thing is a massive psyop and we need to look into it further. That's what I'm doing here. In the video of him getting shot, I mean, it does not appear that the blood that happens, and I mean, I'm going back to the video right now on the stream that I'm doing. The blood does not appear to gush through the other side of his neck, and he's being hit with a rifle that is coming from like 300 yards away. That is totally supposed to be going through your neck at that high speeds. And so that's where we're dealing with where's the bullet hole? Where's the blood splatter? Is my question. It's coming out of his neck for sure, but there's also blood that comes out of people's neck in staged shootings in movies, so that's where I'm getting at that it could have been a blood bag.
We're America's beverage companies, making
Sorry,
American
I'm playing
products
a
with
video.
American workers like America's
I know.
hometowns.
It sounds illegal to know, but a 10-second bedtime
Give
ritual
me a
is
sec.
causing doctors to
I'm pulling
lose.
something up.
Sure.
So, Bob, you're talking about how what exactly do you want me to address first? How do you know that? I was just showing a video of a dog with a hose that looked legitimately real that was created by AI, and I also showed another video of a newscaster lady who was right next to a Lamborghini that went into a puddle, and it looked literally like 100% real, until I'm streaming this on all my platforms and I'm sharing my screen. I'm not just in Twitter Spaces, dude. That's where all the context that I'm sharing is. What about them? I don't know. I wish we could talk to them. About gang violence. What are the odds of that? Was that the cue? Okay. Well, um, there's a lot of people out there who there's a lot of people out there who have this perspective. Okay. Well, there was a video that I was watching on the crowd actually. So if you don't mind, I can play it and then we can go back and forth on the perspective. It's about the people that were in the crowd. It's streaming on X too, so you can pull it up on X if you want. But I know you're Just listen to the audio.
The backpack, this individual, the white hat, and this guy here, you're going to see him doing some hand signs. And let's get right to it. Video first, and I'll break it all down.
How many transgender Americans have been mass shooters over the last 10 years?
Too many.
Okay, now 5 is a lot, right? I'm going to give you some credit. Do you know how many mass shooters there have been in America over the last 10 years?
Counting or not counting gang violence?
Great.
See how the camera goes around. I'm going to go to that specific spot with this guy here. He's the first one. He's signaling for this all to go down with the grabbing of the hat. He's definitely signaling. It's not adjusting his hat. It's a signal while he's holding the phone recording. He's a big player on this fake phony show that's being presented on the world stage. Take a look here. He grabs his hat. This is a signal to get everything underway. And then take a look to the guy to the right as he makes this weird motion with his arm signaling. But one thing I want to point out too, besides these two individuals, the guy with the white hat and the guy with the black shirt, of course, black and white for duality and Freemasonry. Take a look here, and you're going to see something very interesting with Charlie Kirk. And see how far his shirt out is in this position. You see how far it's out. You're going to see something that no one else has covered this that I've seen. And take a look here. You're going to see a black object when he reaches over to grab the mic. I'm going to move this ever so slowly. You're going to see a black object. You see how far the shirt is out from his body. There's something in there. Just take a look here. Going to move it slow. There you go. That little black spot. You have something in there, obviously. He doesn't have two mics. He's grabbing the mic to speak. Right here. To speak into the mic. He's not using two mics. Right there. He's holding the mic to respond to that one guy. We're going to back it up here again. Just take a look again. You see that black object. Again, the puffy white shirt. Move this around here again. You can see there is the blood pack. And right there, clear as day. Okay. Clear as day. Once again, let's move this around a little bit more. And this is where the fake phony show begins. Again, with the guy with the hat signaling. Momentarily. There he goes. He just grabs the very brim, the very tip of his hat, not really adjusting it. And again, just for reference, another shot of this guy making that weird arm motion to signal in conjunction with the guy with the white hat. That weird arm motion. And then Charlie takes the fall. Now I'm going to explain this so people understand what's going on. I said there's AI. Then I said there's a blood pack. People might say it can't be both. It is both. So what they did here is this. When I get to it with the actual neck, that's the AI part, but there's a blood pack in conjunction with this fake phony show. So when you see the so-called shot in that spot, that supposed red spot moving around his neck, it's moving position. While he moves, it's not consistent. So that's the AI part, is this spot. But the blood pack is real. They're using the blood pack in conjunction with the AI for the audience on the world stage. So I'll make that very clear. Now, we're going to take a look here at another angle of this world stage theater. And this is the opposite side. Here's your CIA agent, and he's all wired up with the wire to his ear. And let's take a look.
There have been in America over the last 10 years.
Counting or not counting gang violence?
Great.
Here you see again, the fake phony show taking place. And one thing to really pay attention to is the guy filming this, he never flinched. I'm going to go back to the start momentarily where they head backstage here by this black SUV. I'm going to back this up. Take a look here again. You're going to notice, very important, the guy filming this does not flinch because obviously he knew this was going to take place. This is the money shot. Again, no flinching whatsoever by the guy filming. Take a look.
In America, over the last 10 years, counting or not counting gang violence. Great.
And there's Charlie Kirk on the floor, taking the fall for, again, this World Stage Theater. And I have to really emphasize, the man filming never ducked, never was afraid whatsoever because he knows what's going to take place and there's zero fear for this World Stage Theater event. Now, let's take a look here. And this is where the so-called panic's taking place with people running around everywhere. Take a look here. Again, as the person filming, now look at all the so-called panic with these people. Now, really important to notice here. Look at this. There's a guy up here and people sitting back here, all calm. And this guy, he's positioned here to film this all for this movie scene.
So this to me is crazy. Like, certainly there's real people in the crowd that are scared and afraid from what they've just supposedly witnessed, but there's also people that are positioned throughout the entirety of this campus that are just filming, that are standing around, that are filming, that are able to get really good angles of everything. So that's where this whole theater, from my perspective, is coming into play.
Take a look. As you see him up there and swing around, I'm going to move this cursor around. And this guy here, he's not panicked. These people are not panicked. He's not panicked because these people know what's going down. Everybody else, obviously, in the panic mode. And I'm certain a lot of these people don't know. They're just running and panicking because they're thinking it's real. But the people, again, this guy filming.
Exactly. Right there. They think it's real. They think it's real. Pierce, you've had your hand raised. Do you want to chime in, brother? If not, I can keep going. But your hand has been raised. You're good? Okay. Bobby, is that cool? Or do you want to go, Pierce? Oh, it says unmute space. There we go. Go ahead. All right. I'm not normally the host of these spaces, but I'm looking to host this one. So go ahead, my friend. Are you good? No, No, and I appreciate your perspective, Pierce, and um I'm ultimately open to all things. I'm not saying that I am 100% right. I have not actually made a claim. It's more just it's from my perspective feels like it is a psyop, or that it was potentially staged based off of certain evidence that is presented. But what you were saying too also holds a lot of weight, in the sense that if Charlie was killed, 100%, the powers that be are totally okay with killing people like of his stature. 100%. I won't disagree. And what you're saying about Palantir, this is a mass surveillance state agenda that we are walking through. There goes Bobby. Um, but I don't disagree with what you're saying, brother. I just, from my perspective, I think that there are certain anomalies where, you know, like on the stream that I was showing, I don't know if you're watching, but there's this video from Russian Vids on Rumble where he's just talking about, what's going on in regards to, the crowd, and what's going on with this black dot that is supposedly the camera or the microphone lapel, and I think that, um, you know, with the power of AI and the powers that be and what they do, ultimately to manipulate us and cause mind control, it's really powerful, and we cannot underestimate what they would do ultimately to fake something like this. And from my perspective, it doesn't really matter at this point, regardless of whether I'm right or you're right. Charlie Kirk is off of the world stage. He is no longer going to be out there running Turning Point USA, and they're going to take this new agenda with Ben Shapiro now running Turning Point USA, and they're making it all about Ben Shapiro and Israel, and pushing that as the new president of Turning Point USA, which to me is potentially also part of the psychological operation. But it's all about bringing the world religions and everything together to manipulate the Christians, manipulate the Jews, manipulate Muslims, Iranians, Palestinians, just manipulate everyone to a very high level. So one other thing I wanted to share was this video. I forget this guy's name, but he talks about the theys essentially, and the people that are in power, and what they're willing to do essentially to manipulate us.
That's the way the ruling class operates in any society. They try to divide the rest of the people. They keep the lower and the middle classes fighting with each other so that they, the rich, can run off with all the fucking money. Fairly simple thing, happens to work. You know, anything different, that's what they're going to talk about. Race, religion, ethnic and national background, jobs, income, education, social status, sexuality, anything you can do, keep us fighting with each other so that they can keep going to the bank. You know how I describe the economic and social classes in this country? The upper class keeps all of the money, pays none of the taxes. The middle class pays all of the taxes, does all of the work. The poor are there just to scare the shit out of the middle class. Keep them showing up at those jobs.
And that to me is a great story, great little metaphor for what's going on here. I mean, just stay afraid, everybody. Just keep being afraid and don't question anything. And I'm open to all perspectives, like I've said. I don't think that we should rule certain things out. Like, why was the shooting of Charlie Kirk, a comprehensive account of the Utah Valley University attack, the aftermath, released on Amazon on September 9th, the day before this was released to the world? This event was released to the world. It feels as if that it it certainly was pre-planned. I mean, obviously, whether it was real or it was part of a psyop that was part of a larger manipulation, of our minds. I've heard people say that you can go back and change certain dates on Amazon when you publish something. I'm not sure if that's true, but still, the fact that this book even exists and they're creating an AI book and putting it out there um, goes to show that there's just so much that we need to be questioning when it comes to this. And like Donald Trump and Netanyahu coming out at 3:02 p.m. at the same exact time tweeting about Charlie Kirk, to me is just, how is that possible? How many coincidences need to happen for us to not see what is really going on? You know, um, and so like 100%, and I appreciate what you're saying. Um, I don't disagree at all. That's why I'm not combating anybody who has a different perspective than me. It's more like I'm just sharing some things that I, as an investigative researcher, have come across. I'm not forcing anyone to believe any of this. I just, I'm still ultimately coming to my own perspective and opinion. It's just, to me, it feels like, I've seen enough when it comes to these people on the world stage, and Pierce, like the whole thing with Charlie, that I just like, I've publicly stated this in the past on tweets and things of that nature, but Charlie supposedly was at Bohemian Grove with James in summer of 2023 with James O'Keefe, my former boss, which 100%, bro. And we need to pray, honestly, for for the world to continue to ask questions and not just buy into what was presented to them, is how I see it. Um, obviously, if any loss of life is a tragedy, and so, truly, if Charlie passed, you know, I I'm praying for him and his wife and his kids, but we also need to acknowledge that the powers that be are going to use this as an agenda to, push their Palantir narrative with this surveillance state and digital ID and everything else. Like, it's I'm just so over the political agenda of what's going on. Like, we have Trump as the perceived leader of the free world, and this guy is out here, with JD Vance and Palantir, um, on the right hand, as the right hand man, and you got Peter Thiel out there as this. He's literally like this self-pronounced like antichrist or something. He's doing some talks about that, and it's crazy, dude. Like, it really is nuts. So that's oh, right. And I think that you're making a great point in the sense of the narratives with Israel. Like, it's out there now that he was questioning Israel, and he just didn't have the heart to say it, right? And questioning the Israeli government. But my question is, like this guy was funded by them. So is are these little clips of him like maybe questioning Israel like all just part of these clips that they can share after his death, that he was questioning it? That's me playing like the other side of this discussion, where it feels as if, like, this whole thing, like that tweet of him saying like, I feel like I got shot by an AR-15, like that was in 2024. So that means that this could have been planned for 11 years, potentially, like, something along those lines, or even since he's been in the limelight. So what you're saying, like, just looking at it from both sides of what I'm saying, like, it's so many narratives that they can just inject into all of this, which is really scary. That they have narratives that they could potentially plan for 11 or more years. I mean, I'm sure 9/11 itself was probably planned for, you know a lot longer than that, even, like 20 years. Yeah, for sure, brother. um how are you otherwise absorbing this? I'm curious. I I'm like trying to I wanted to get more people in here, but I'm also streaming on X, so there's 313 people listening to this conversation, actually. It's just they're not in here with us. Thanks, Pierce. Appreciate your time as always, brother. Appreciate the convo. So, good night. Talk to you, okay? Yep. All right, bye. Alrighty, my friends. Well, for those that are listening on X, I encourage you to pop in the Twitter spaces with me. If you have Twitter, for those that are listening on YouTube, on anything else, please hop over to the Twitter spaces to have some interaction. Otherwise, I'm going to end this live stream as I am looking to call this conversation within the next 30 minutes to an hour. And I've kind of gone through all of the material that I want to live stream at this point in time. So I am going to look to end the live stream itself.